Hello, my name is Caroline Mickerson. I'm the communications lead at SitSci. Today, we are going to explore extremophiles in your home, and we're taking a deep dive into the water heater protocol. But first, let me tell you a little bit about microbes. Microbes are tiny organisms that can only be seen under a microscope, and they thrive in extreme environments, from deep sea trenches to boiling geysers. But did you know they also exist in your home? Your hot water heater, air conditioner, and shower head create the perfect conditions for these life forms to flourish. The Extremophile campaign in your home invites participants to search for microbes in unexpected household spots and contribute to real scientific research. This project, hosted on SitSci and led by Two Frontiers with support from SEED, explores how microbes might help solve challenges like climate change through their unique survival abilities. We invite participants to observe and document microbial growth, earning the chance to contribute samples for cutting-edge DNA sequencing research. You can participate in the Extremophiles campaign in your home, as well as the Companion in the Wild campaign anytime via SitSci's app or website. However, with this video, we're going in a little bit of a different direction, showing you a special version of the Extremophiles campaign in your home, where we're asking volunteers to drain their water heaters and collect samples for the project. You will need a sampling kit from us before you get started. If you're interested, please email sarah.newman@colostate.edu. So that's sarah.newman@colostate.edu. I'm going to share the instructions with you in their entirety and show you different clips of how I did the project with help from my most favorite assistants, my parents. Just want to say, before we get started, SitSci, Two Frontiers, SEED, we are not liable for any damage to your water heater or home as a result of participating in this project. Thanks for wanting to delve into this new frontier with us here at SitSci. So you might be wondering, how long will this take? It should be less than an hour, and you'll be sampling indoors, at home, or wherever water heaters can be found that you have permission to sample. In terms of equipment, provided in your sampling kit, you will find 2 test tubes, gloves, a metal scoop/scraper, a disposable pipette, double-nested Ziploc bags with absorbent paper towels, and a shipping envelope with prepaid return label. You'll need to provide some supplies too that aren't in your sampling kit. Please locate at least 2 clean 5-gallon buckets for water collection, and also find a clean hose, preferably a clear one for visibility. If you're thinking about when to sample and who to sample with, just know that you can conduct this sampling anytime, but you need to make sure that you follow the necessary safety precautions, especially around hot water. Draining your hot water heater may sound intimidating, but it's actually fairly easy to do. It can be helpful to have 2 people for the sampling. For example, I had both my parents, but you really just need one buddy. One person can be available to hold the hose in one bucket, while the other person empties the buckets full of water. Alright, let's get into the step-by-step instructions. Step 1, read your water heater's owner's manual. If you have access to the manual for your hot water heater, it most likely includes step-by-step instructions for how to drain it. Most of the instructions should be similar to our instructions that you'll hear in this video. Our instructions also include how to collect samples to send to the Extremophile campaign in your home, which you won't find in your water heater owner's manual. For step 2, it's time to turn off your water heater. If you have a gas heater, your model will most likely have a dial you can move to the off setting. Those sampling gas heaters will also need to shut off the gas. Electric heaters, we recommend that you shut off the power to your water heater at the circuit breaker. For an electric water heater especially, failure to properly turn off the water heater could damage the internal heating elements when the water is completely drained. This is a very important step, so whether you have a gas or electric heater, make sure that you are careful as you are turning off your water heater. Moving on to step 3, now it's time to turn off your cold water supply. There should be a valve or a knob or a lever near the top of your water heater that you can use to turn off the flow of water into your tank while you collect your sample. Now, for step 4, it's time to allow the water to cool. We recommend that you wait about 5 to 10 minutes to allow the water in the water heater to cool to at least below 120 degrees Fahrenheit before you begin the draining process or attempt to collect a sample. This will reduce the risk of scalding yourself and is an extremely important step. When you're ready to take on step 5, you can open the pressure release valve at the top or the side of the tank. At the top or the side of the tank, there should be a valve for relieving pressure inside the tank. When you open it, you should hear the sound of pressure releasing. Make sure that you leave this valve open. Step 6 is as follows. Locate the drain valve at the bottom of the tank, set up both your buckets, and attach the hose to the drain valve. At the bottom of your water heater, there should be a valve to allow for the release of water. Place a large container, bucket, beneath this valve and attach a clean hose to the valve. Put an empty bucket next to your main bucket. This will come in handy later. The initial bucket will catch any water that may leak out when you first open the valve. When you tackle step 7, you will finalize the placement of your buckets and hose. Place the open end of the hose into one of the buckets. Keep the second bucket nearby for use when the first bucket is full. Step 8 is to start draining the water from the heater. When you open the valve, the water should start flowing into the bucket. When the first bucket is about half to 2/3 full, move your hose over to the second bucket. If there's sediment or flocculent, floating particles, in the first bucket, prepare to collect a sample. This is relevant for step 10, collect your sample. If you don't see any sediment, keep draining. The heater drains from bottom to top, so sediment may appear immediately, later, or not at all. Buckets of water that do not appear to have sediment or flocculent can be dumped out. Continue to drain and check for sediment until water runs clear or mostly clear. Keep draining just to be sure you're getting the sediment until the water runs clear or mostly clear. Shut off the flow once the water runs clear or mostly clear. Now it's time for the most exciting step of all, collect your sample. Put on your gloves, and then, when the water is cool enough to touch, dip your test tube into the bucket containing the sediment/flocculent. Collect as much sediment/flocculent as possible into the tube. Don't worry about putting your arm in the water, especially if you're wearing gloves. Even if you do touch the water somehow, it won't contaminate the sample. You may wish to use the metal scraper or pipette from your sampling kit to get as much of the sediment as possible into the tube. Step 11 is to reset your equipment. After making sure that the drain valve at the bottom of your water heater is firmly tightened, turn the cold water supply valve back on. Allow the tank to fill up completely. You'll hear air escaping from the pressure release valve, and ultimately, the hissing sound will dissipate as the water passes through the pressure release valve. Once the hissing sound is fully gone, you can close the pressure release valve. Restart your water heater following the instructions in your water heater owner's manual. The final step is step 12, ship your sample. Place the test tube inside the provided double-nested Ziploc bags with paper towels. Seal the bags tightly to prevent leaks. Use the prepaid envelope to return your sample to the research team, and then visit the SitSci app or website to enter your data via the Extremophiles page. And that's it! Hooray! You did it! You contributed to science! Helped us find microbes that might be important for addressing environmental challenges like climate change. Before you embark on your water heater testing journey, we'll end with some safety notes. Always consult your water heater manual before beginning. Ensure the water is cool enough to handle before collecting samples. And finally, be cautious around hot surfaces and water lines. If you'd like more reading, or you're just curious about citizen science, you can find a written version of these instructions on the SitSci page with the Resources tab, with research references for further reading. You can also find many more citizen science projects on SitSci where you can make a meaningful difference for science. Thank you again for turning your curiosity into impact.